This is in no way my attempt to justify my comic book obsession. And this story, I really, really like. Artwork, the storytelling. Hello everyone and welcome to another episode of The Pull List. My name is Travis. Let's talk about Wolverine 3, more specifically X-23. The film Wolverine number 3 marks the end of Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, and rumors have been flying around that X-23 will make an appearance in the film and then end up taking up the claws. So just who is X-23, you may be asking? Well, she is a female clone of Wolverine. Instead of having 3 claws in each hand, she has 2 claws in each hand and 1 claw in each foot. She has a healing factor, incredible strength, speed, reflexes, agility, and her claws are coated in adamantium. Sound familiar? Her dark origin story eventually led her to her father, Wolverine, and the X-Men, and much like Harley Quinn, X-23's first appearance wasn't in the comics, it was in an animated TV show, and then they brought her into the comics. Her first comic appearance was in NYX number 3, where she was an underage prostitute, but we'll get to that in a second. There was a top secret agency that wanted to replicate the original Weapon X experiment, where they bonded adamantium to Wolverine's bones, but they needed a subject like Wolverine, someone to survive the process. Dr. Martin Sutter recruits Dr. Sarah Kinney, a mutant geneticist, in order to replicate a clone of Wolverine. They have a genetic sample of Wolverine, but it's damaged. There's no way to salvage the Y chromosome. So Dr. Sarah Kinney proposes that they create a female clone. Her associate Dr. Xander Rice does not like that idea, but Kinney goes ahead and does it anyway, and after 22 failed attempts, the 23rd attempt successfully bonds with an embryo. Kinney acts as the surrogate mother for the embryo, and after 9 months, X-23 is born. X-23 is subjected to radiation for 7 years in order to trigger her mutant genes. The ones that are normally triggered during puberty, they wanted to trigger her mutant genes right away, so they just pumped her full of radiation. Her claws are taken out, coated with adamantium, and reinserted 2 into her hand and 1 into her foot without any anesthetic at all. And this is a little child going through this major surgery without any anesthetic. Even Wolverine had anesthetic. They even develop a trigger scent, a smell that drives X-23 into a murderous rage, killing anyone in the area. She's trained as a young child to be the perfect assassin. X-23 reveals to Kinney that Rice has been using her to commit murders, and also that there are subject pods for X-24 through X-50. So Sarah Kinney gives X-23 one final mission: go destroy the pods, kill Rice, and return. And she does, but not before Rice gave her the trigger scent. So when she comes back to her mother, she goes into this murderous frenzy and kills her own mother. Before her mother dies, she hands her pictures of Charles Xavier, Wolverine, the X-Mansion, and a letter, tells her that her name is Laura and that she loves her, and she dies. Later, after an ordeal with Captain America and a bunch of S.H.I.E.L.D. agents trying to arrest her, she goes in search of Wolverine because he's the reason that she's created. She finds him at the X-Mansion and ends up defeating him pretty easily. She doesn't kill him, but she tells him why she showed up, and he says that he's aware of the situation because he got a very detailed letter from her mother. This moderately heartwarming moment is interrupted when Cap shows up under S.H.I.E.L.D. orders to arrest X-23 so she can atone for the murders that she committed. He ultimately frees her to keep S.H.I.E.L.D. from exploiting her abilities, but her life does not get any easier. She engages in self-harm, cutting herself with her own claws. She gets taken in by a pimp and becomes an underage prostitute and gets these sadomasochistic patrons who enjoy getting cut. She gets a job at a nightclub, and at one point she has to kill a bunch of thugs, but her kill style implicates Wolverine in the murders. She eventually finds her way into the X-Men and joins their team, but since she grew up in such a controlled environment, she has a very cold, no-nonsense attitude and has trouble processing emotions. She starts acting animalistically loyal, I think is a good way to put it. She's very loyal to Wolverine, but will attack anyone else at the drop of a hat. There was a time when Bishop and Wolverine were training, and Bishop floored Wolverine, and X-23 attacked Bishop. There was a time when she saw Spider-Man at the X-Mansion, thought that Spider-Man was a villain, so X-23 attacked Spider-Man. Yeah, I don't know if you can tell by all the comics that I'm showing off in this video, but I'm a pretty big fan of X-23. She's just got so many layers and such an interesting backstory, and unlike Wolverine, who doesn't really know much about his backstory, she is aware of all of the bad, awful stuff, and she carries it with her, and it makes her such a layered character. There's so many motivations that she has, and so many things that she's trying to suppress, and so many things that she's trying to be okay with. She's trying to be emotional, but she's trying not to let the kill scent murder spree bother her. I don't even think at this point in the comics she's completely suppressed that. I think she had a conversation with Emma a while back where Emma said she didn't think that she would ever be able to get rid of that kill scent, which makes for an interesting storyline, especially now that she is the new Wolverine in the comics. For like the past year, she's been the new Wolverine in the comics, because Wolverine, Snick Snick, is dead. I don't know if you guys knew that. Spoiler alert. Haha. And in the comics, X-23 eventually becomes a big part of X-Force, the sort of Black Ops X-Men team, which makes me really excited if she's going to be in the Wolverine 3 movie. That means that she might possibly, maybe a small chance, that she might be in the X-Force movie. And I would really like to see a no-nonsense X-23 with Deadpool. That would be a thing I would enjoy seeing. In the comments down below, let me know your thoughts on X-23 and if you think that she might possibly be in the Wolverine 3 movie. It makes sense when we're losing a Wolverine to pass the torch on to another Wolverine. It sort of makes sense, because then if Fox sees that X-23 is a character that can get tapped for a lot of movies, they will do that, and that would be amazing, because there are so much comic content. There's so many X-23 stories, so many great X-23 stories. You know what, I just decided something. As some of you know, I have a Patreon now where you can go be a patron of mine in order to support my content. The next week, I will be looking at patrons, and they can win this comic. Anybody who's already pledged money to me, anybody who will pledge money to me in the next week, has a chance to win this comic. You could pledge $1, you could pledge $5, it doesn't matter. As long as you pledge $1, you have a chance of winning this comic. By next week, I'll contact the winner on Patreon to get your shipping address to get this mailed out to you. That's it for this episode of The Pull List. My name is Travis. Thank you for fueling my comic book obsession, and you will see me soon.